Loneliness isn't an emotion, it's a warning system. And the fact that it hurts as much as physical pain isn't a metaphor, it's biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. We've spent centuries treating loneliness like a personal failure, a sign of weakness, something to be ashamed of and hidden. But the shame is misplaced, because that hollow, heavy feeling you get when you're disconnected from people that isn't your mind being dramatic. That's 50,000 years of survival code running exactly on schedule. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a grassland at dusk. No city, no light switch, no door to lock, just open terrain and the sound of wind moving through dry grass. You are alone. Not alone like everyone went home after the party. Alone like separated from your group, lost from your tribe, cut off from the only 30 or 40 people on Earth who know your name, who share your fire, who will notice if you don't come back. That feeling in your chest right now in that imagined moment is not sadness, it is an alarm. Because in that world, being alone didn't mean being lonely. It meant being dead. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Predators hunt isolated animals. Starvation comes faster without hands to help gather food. Illness without care becomes fatal. Childbirth without help becomes fatal. Everything becomes fatal. Alone in the ancient world was a countdown. Your brain understood this. And it built a mechanism to make sure you would never stay alone for long. In the early 2000s, a neuroscientist named John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago began mapping what loneliness actually does to the human body. What he found wasn't what anyone expected. Loneliness doesn't just make you feel bad. It physically restructures how your brain processes the world. Chronically lonely people show increased activity in the brain's threat detection systems, specifically the regions that scan for danger. Their nervous systems enter a state Cacioppo called hypervigilance. The brain, reading social isolation as mortal danger, shifts into survival mode. Sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented because, in the ancient world, sleeping deeply while alone meant not waking up. Cortisol levels rise. Inflammation increases. The immune system changes its behavior, pulling resources away from long-term protection and redirecting them toward immediate wound response. Because if you're isolated and vulnerable, you're more likely to get hurt. The body starts preparing for injury before the injury happens. Read that again. The body prepares for injury. Loneliness doesn't just mirror physical pain. It actually produces physical damage. Prolonged isolation has measurable effects on cardiovascular health, cognitive decline, and mortality risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Cacioppo spent a career documenting this, and his conclusion was stark. Loneliness is not a feeling about your social life. It is a biological state with the same urgency as hunger or thirst. It is your body telling you that something essential is missing. And like hunger, if the signal is ignored long enough, the consequences are physical and real. This is where the story gets strange, because here's what nobody tells you. The pain of loneliness is not a malfunction. It's the feature working perfectly. The system was never designed to make loneliness comfortable. It was designed to make loneliness unbearable. Because unbearable things get fixed. You don't casually ignore thirst for 3 weeks. You don't leisurely address a broken leg when you get around to it. Pain forces action, and social disconnection in the ancestral environment demanded the same urgency. The loneliness mechanism is brilliant in its cruelty. It makes you crave connection while simultaneously making you worse at it. Cacioppo's research showed that lonely people become more sensitive to social threat, more likely to perceive rejection, more likely to misread neutral expressions as hostile, more likely to withdraw from interactions that feel risky. Their threat detection systems are running hot, and that makes them see danger in faces that aren't dangerous. The very thing loneliness is trying to fix, social reconnection, gets harder the longer the loneliness runs. Imagine a smoke detector that, instead of just beeping, also fills the room with smoke. That's the loop. Lonely long enough and your own biology starts working against you. The alarm meant to push you back toward people starts pushing people away. In the ancient world, this probably didn't matter much. Isolation was usually short. You got separated from your tribe, the pain hit hard and fast, and the urgency drove you to close the gap before the system had time to corrode. The loop was a short one. We didn't evolve for a world where the loop could run for years. Imagine a city of 8 million people. You are in it right now. You pass 100 faces on your way to get coffee. You see thousands of people in a single commute. More human faces in one morning than your ancestors saw in a lifetime. Everywhere you look, there are people. And somehow, you have never felt more alone. This is the mismatch. The brain's social monitoring system doesn't count faces on a subway. It counts bonds. It counts the people who know your actual name, who have seen you sick, who would notice the specific quality of your silence and know something was wrong. Dunbar's number, the anthropologist Robin Dunbar's research on primate social groups suggests the human brain can actively maintain around 150 meaningful relationships, with a tighter inner circle of roughly 5 to 15 people who carry real weight in your life. The modern world can give you 10,000 followers and 0 of those 15 people, so the alarm keeps running. You feel it when you scroll through a feed full of people living lives, and none of them are yours. You feel it in a crowd where everyone is laughing, and the laughter somehow makes the distance worse. You feel it after a conversation that should have felt connecting, and somehow left you emptier than before. That's not you being broken. That's your nervous system running a 50,000-year-old diagnostic and returning a result it was never built to process. The system says, you are not in the tribe. The system says, this is dangerous. The system starts raising cortisol. The system starts lighting up threat detection. The system starts preparing you for injury. And you're just sitting in your apartment, fine, objectively safe, completely unable to explain why your chest feels like this. Your loneliness is ancient. It predates language. It predates fire. It is one of the oldest signals your species ever developed. And it has kept more humans alive across more generations than almost any other mechanism in your biology. That doesn't make it easier to feel. But maybe it changes what it means. You were not built for this kind of aloneness. Not the modern kind, the kind that lives in a crowd, the kind that survives on surface contact, the kind that goes to work and comes home and goes to sleep without ever truly being known by another person. That kind of loneliness is new. Your body has no name for it yet. It only knows the old word, danger. And maybe that's worth sitting with, not as a verdict on your life, but as evidence of something quietly remarkable, that somewhere underneath all the noise and the screens and the city, there is a part of you that still knows exactly what it needs, that still reaches, that still wants to be found. It's been reaching for 50,000 years. It hasn't stopped yet.